Hi, I'm Udai. I'm speaking to PEAKLIFE Magazine in Ingood Co, where good coffee is about good company.
Hello everyone. We at Peak Life always talk about people. People make what Peak Life is today. Today we have among us a person who has redefined luxury cuisine and hospitality. With the umbrella brand, the brand which has actually known India for long, ABNAH Group. Under ABNAH New Age Hospitality, this person has redefined luxury cuisine in India with brands like Chin Chin, Nora Thai, and now this wonderful coffee brand, Ingood Co. The brand is redefining Indian coffee business. Welcome, Udai.
Thank you. Thank you, Abhinav. Thank you. That's a very generous introduction. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for accepting us to have this talk. To start with, I'm very intrigued with your story.
Sure.
You're starting at ABNAH Group
Yeah.
very early in your
Yes.
career.
Yes.
Worked across board. If I may reply, you have worked in carbon industry,
Yeah.
you have worked in cellular, you have worked with Ellen Soli, you have worked
Yes.
across boards. How challenging it was, and tell me about the story.
Oh, wow. Okay. I think we can do a full session on that.
Okay, I would not mind that.
But I think, a couple of things that really define that entire journey really is, for me, which is very core to me, which is curiosity. I think it's very important to stay curious.
Yep.
Because that's when you ask all the right questions for the right reasons.
True.
And the other thing that defines this entire thing for me as something that should be important to all of us is humility. That otherwise, when you enter a new category or a new industry or a new sector from time to time, you never learn anything if you're not these two things. You should be curious and you should be humble.
True.
You should accept that you don't know. I think that's where all the journeys start. I think otherwise, then words like challenges and all are relegated to execution, but not to emotion. A challenge can't be an emotion. It can be an executional challenge, which is okay. But if you're waking up stressed out, then it's a problem, right?
Something wrong is happening.
Yeah, I think so. And it's been a fabulous journey because I've got to learn so much. To each their own, but people spend their entire lives in a particular industry. But I, on the other hand, have got the opportunity to work with people who spent 10 years, 15 years in a certain category, and I go in and I learn from them, and then I'm able to find some way of adding some value and contributing to that journey, to that business. And that's a fantastic platform and an opportunity.
No, do you believe that working in various industries, and very varied industries, right from B2B to B2C, did it give you did you more understanding about evolving Indian consumers' mindset, or for that matter, the global industrial scenario? Because both are very different in its term. Global consumer B2C and Indian B2B or global B2B. Yeah. How do you see that has given you a learning perspective across the industries?
Certainly. See, look, there's a lot of learning that comes from straddling a breadth of different categories and different businesses. But when you're operating, I don't think anyone who's effective focuses on complexity. Not to ignore the nuances and details, but to operate, I think we come down to first principles. So, whether you take a business like cement or whether you take a business like a cafe, there will always be some truths about how you drive demand and generate demand, and there'll be a few truths about what cost lines come in and don't come in. So it's almost like there is color when you're trying to understand the consumer, but it's black and white when it comes to the numbers. True. So I think it's your ability to simplify it down to that when you're operating. Otherwise, you're making it too complex.
How easy you are making it sound very easy, but it's not that easy. I know it. So to just speak about numbers in black,
yes,
is complex nowadays. So my question is, being an entrepreneur myself, and speaking about the evolving business, this actually intrigues me. That how do you keep yourself in different industries, learn from different industries, and see that how the profitability or black numbers are maintained?
I'll take two quick examples, slightly theoretical, but examples nevertheless from categories I've worked in. So I've also have been worked with our new paints business at ABJ Birla Opus. From a very early stage. I was at Mr. Birla's office at the point in time when he had the vision and the year to say that, this is a great category that we should be part of. And then I was lucky to be there at the right time, right place. And then I also worked inside that business. When I entered that business, so it's a new one, obviously I had very little. The number of hours I spent inside consumers' homes, just going for immersions, sitting with them, asking them questions that what is important to them, right? Because they don't wake up in the morning thinking paint. They're thinking my child's school fee,
Of course.
my career growth,
Yes.
my vacation. Their life is not going around your category.
Not at
But जब
all.
आप उनके साथ बैठते हो and you interact with them and engage with them to understand how does your category affect them. For them, I learned that they come back to their home to get away from all the noise. It is their space, and what color is on their walls
Of course.
really affects them, and it's a matter of pride for them and what joy they draw from that. And hence then you go back and say that when you want to build a paint, you want to build a product, how it's useful to them. Now this part, when you're engaging with the consumer for that category and then you are having this conversation, I think that is when there's color involved. When you are engaging, well, pun intended that it was about Birla Opus Paints, I could be talking about telecom. I've done that in that category. Yeah. I've done that for
I was coming to
cafes.
that only because that's more challenging in terms of. No, I will not say the paint challenge is lesser because we have players. Yeah. Telecom industry in India in itself has their own challenges.
Yeah.
And globally for that matter.
It's a very challenging category.
It's one of the most challenging category in the world.
Yeah.
And you've been instrumental right from the start. Idea cellular.
Yes.
I can understand. That's where my inquisitiveness come into picture. That why and how have you actually evolved yourself from different industries? Because you're talking about industries which are tough and like very demanding. And from telecom to paints and to cement and now to hospitality. Varied.
I think it goes back to what I said early on, that when you're sitting and asking these questions to consumers, to be very humble enough to accept that you don't know and be curious and ask a genuine question that I want to know what you think and why do you, like you said, go and sit with a cement dealer to understand why does an Ultratech sell 3x more than any other and what do consumers ask. When you're asking those questions, you're not quizzing them, you're not trying to find the right answer to give someone else, but you yourself are curious. That gives you, I think, a lot of understanding. When it comes to numbers, I spoke about black and white, right? Ultimately, I think it comes down to every rupee I'm spending on everything, whether I'm buying this lamp here or adding an automation line in a cement baggage plant. How is it generating ROI? What value? It has to add value. Sometimes it's adding value to the consumer. Sometimes it's adding value to the buyer. Sometimes it's adding value to a dealer. Sometimes it's just adding value to your supplier, maybe. A process like in Idea Cellular, I didn't do it, but I've seen a end-to-end paper-free process of giving a PO to paying the vendor. Like it's just making everyone's life easy. No one's having to call you up, and so every rupee you're spending, is it giving you a return for someone in the value chain? That gives you a lot of time in life, a black and white understanding of why you're spending this money. So I think it's very important to ask ourselves that question. I think it becomes very critical.
No, see, and also I think some credit has to go to the work environment of ABNAH Group in particular, and you would know it better, having worked with the man himself under his umbrella as an executive to him. And then from there you came into New Age hospitality, ABNAH Birla New Age hospitality. Was it challenging for you to take up that pressure and bring brands to India? Because like we discussed, hospitality in itself is not a very structured market in India. Now it is getting there slowly, but it is not. Very few brands dominate and then others shut down. So was there a pressure?
Well, so let me answer both these questions in two parts. The first part is what I've learned here over the last almost 2 decades is the importance and the power of respect for the individual, respect for your employees. Having worked through the trenches or with Mr. Birla himself and now with Ariman himself, what you realize it when you're in a room, no one's thinking designation, no one's thinking hierarchy. They're really thinking value. And when someone so senior also looks at you and say what's your opinion, and you are thinking, hey, I'm not anyone, I'm not someone who's so senior or knows a lot, but you're giving me that respect. My own perception of how responsible I should be increases. So the next time I know I'm going to do my homework a lot more, because Mr. Birla is going to ask me, what's your opinion, while there are 3 other senior people sitting in the room. So that's something that I've learned about how to treat individuals and how to treat teams. It just reinforces of how you treat each other as people, I think. And that segues into the answer to the second question, that was it a pressure, was it a challenge when you go and engage with global brands?
Yep.
I think it's a combination of all of these things that I spoke about, that your drive to add value to someone who's trusting you with this. When Ariman asked me if I can lead this business, and fully well knowing that it's not that I have a degree in hospitality or I've spent 15 years in it, it's coming from a different lens, an entrepreneur's lens, when they are seeing at an individual and thinking that, do you think they can build a team and a business which can build value on top of it, and hence can they respect someone with, can they in a very secure manner, not feeling underconfident, bring in someone probably to run their operations who's 20 years in hospitality and still feel secure about leading this business, and so on and so forth. There is no pressure and challenge then when you're thinking about it through this lens, that I'm going to have a very diverse set of team members, people who have come from hospitality, people who have not come from hospitality. Everyone will get their space to create value. You're hiring them for the right mindset, the right culture, and the right technical skills. And then we've, as you know, signed up with Joe and the Juice to be the India Master Franchises. It's very recently. With practically no history of having built scaled or chained brands. We have a deep base we've built in hospitality, but not in chain. What made a company like Joe and the Juice choose us when there are so many options? It's the team. It's the confidence they get about, when they see the teams on ground and say that, yes, they understand the first principles they're talking about. I think when you work with teams like this, you respect them, and then you let them do their best, and then you showcase them. I think that's what takes
a fresh idea. I believe you get the fresh idea. You get
very fresh
to learn from.
A lot. You get to learn a lot, and hence, as I said, the pressure or the challenge is always in the execution to ensure that it goes right. I think it's always a pleasure really to work with the right kind of teams, and you wake up in the morning confident that you're going to deliver.
And also, like you have mentioned, few brands which are coming to India, and you are instrumental in bringing them into India. Do you think with that the Indian consumer mindset is evolving as well now, according to the fine dining perspective?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Absolutely, I think so. See, a couple of things have shifted in the last 5 or 6 years, right? Consumers have started valuing experiences a lot more. People are now going out and traveling a lot more. People realize that, while I can save for a rainy day, but I want to live life today. And hence, what great experiences can I go out and get for myself and for my family, and so on and so forth. So when they travel globally and they, watch different things happen on Instagram across the world, they want those experiences here in India today, right? That gives you the confidence when you keep your ears close to the ground and listen to what consumers are saying. That, hey, you know what? Yes, creating something that has these overtones or this at the heart of it is going to really give you success, whether it is fine dining or whether it's a cafe. And it all goes down to keeping a very keen ear to the ground to what consumers are really talking about, thinking about. They're expressing themselves all the time. They're telling you a lot of things when they're talking to you and they're not talking to you both. So it's about just listening to them very closely and then building something for them.
So what do you think is the greatest personally, what is a great test for a restaurant to succeed?
I think when you leave the restaurant and the next morning, the taste of the food doesn't leave your mind. When you think that, oh, that was a great evening, that experience was great, or someone really...
That's a big benchmark, by the way.
Well, the benchmark should always be high.
Yeah.
It can be a journey to try and achieve them, but the benchmark should be high. And when they're thinking the next time, it's a no-brainer for them. I want to go back because I know I'm going to have a great experience, a great meal. I think that should be the benchmark.
No, with that, do you think India has evolved enormously in different aspects? If you talk about tech, if you talk about fashion, we are being recognized now. Culinary, being so diverse, has not yet been recognized globally. Yes, in tranches, the food which we bring, the traditional aspects which we bring. Do you think it's high time that India emerge as a leader in this space as well? And looking at, I must compliment Ingood Co.
Thank you.
Is done with the international taste, and you don't expect anything lesser than that when it comes from a house like Aditya Birla. So you have done a great job. The team has done a great job. But do you think that this legacy has to go out of India and we need to stand out in this business?
Yes. Let me tell you how I think about this. Really, one, I think a time has come. I think, and India is global. If I take F&B and culinary, today, when you see the kind of people who are winning the James Beard Award in the US, or the kind of restaurants that are grabbing Michelin stars, they're gone beyond what was known as Indian food. They're doing regional cuisine themselves. There's South Indian food that's becoming a big hit. There is food that's very core in terms of Indian palate, but presented in a very international fashion, plated in a very Uber fashion that's becoming popular. So I think it's increasingly the self-assured Indian, the very confident and secure Indian is becoming comfortable to present what is truly ours from across regions and not fit into a template that has been set by someone in the West saying that, hey, you need to fit into this. And I'm deliberately not taking the names of cuisines, global cuisines, which have ruled the roost for the longest time. But they set the frameworks and benchmarks saying, hey, this is how you need to look. This is how you need to feel. That's not true anymore. I think and hence India is global. I can just take a cross category reference. Look at Sabyasachi.
Yeah, true.
He didn't start out wanting to prove a point. He just did what was truly Indian and what he believed in. I think that sets the tone for who Indians are today. And it's not about the price point. I'm not talking about luxury or not. It's about how we think about ourselves.
Giving recognition, rather. It's about giving recognition.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing the right thing. And I think, that is what it's about, building global brands. And the other part which I'd like to address is, you build a great brand. How does this brand go out? Today, a brand goes out by also people coming in, right? And what I mean by that is that an Ingood Co need not necessarily be in a Paris or a Dubai. When people from France or UAE or from the US travel to India, if they walk into this cafe, and say that, this is India, this is what an Indian cafe looks like. They take that story back with them. It's about stories. Right. So that's a great way of building a global brand as well. And I think that's the way to go.
And you have addressed it very well. And it is just not about taking your brand outside India. It is about giving best experience when people are coming here and giving them what India is all about.
See, because when they come to India, if they're going to find the same experiences that they find back home, what's the big deal? Why would they walk in?
Why would they do that?
This is the story I want them to take back.
Yes. And definitely this actually exuberates what you're talking about. Having traveled myself and I've seen coffee connoisseur myself, and I've seen coffees evolving in India in past few years, thanks to few brands. They have actually got changed. India from all of a sudden from a tea drinking nation is now changing into a coffee drinking nation, thanks to the Gen Zs and the younger generation. They are a coffee drinker. Globalization is happening in that. So brand like this with ambience like this, I must compliment you for doing a great job.
You're very kind, but thank you.
No,
we're
amazing.
Quite proud of what we've built.
And what was the thought behind the merchandise?
So I think that we're really a brand that wants the Indian consumer to express themselves, and this is a brand which we are expressing ourselves through too. Our F&B, because we are an F&B company, we are a culinary company, will always remain very important to us. At the heart of what we will always do is to try and build a great food and beverage offering that you would like to come back to. But having said that, for a space that's been built to be, inviting for people to come in and feel free to be themselves and express themselves, it also needed to have other arms and legs to express itself. Like, you'll see a lot of people going around with this
Yes.
baseball cap because we think that this here, the fact that at heart there's a lot of rootedness. We are very happy and comfortable and proud that we are Indians. I'm not worried if I'm not wearing a turban and instead wearing a baseball cap because we are very international too as a
course.
country and all. I think a lot of merch talks about one that. Two, the other thing it talks about is you'll also find some of the merch. Like we're working with this women only artisanal merch company called Ekatra, for example. That collaboration is very important for us. You'll see some
And they're very beautiful
slings,
as well.
some
I've seen their
laptop
work,
sleeves,
yes.
and so on, right? You'll see some of the mugs which are handmade pottery. For us, being able to, in our little way, showcase some of these, some of the skill and some of the work that's being done by a large part of a country is very important. So why not? So we're going to collaborate, continue to find reasons to collaborate with people across the country who can who can showcase their work as well.
No, they look beautiful and they're very unique in their own sense.
Thank you.
And so is the cafe. And talking about coffee,
Yeah.
the evolving business, some 20 billion market,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
growing, all this jazz which has
Yeah,
been growing.
yeah.
What is next for Ingood Co? So how do you see the brand evolving with
Yeah.
other branches opening in other cities,
Yeah.
or you expanding in Delhi NCR or other cities?
Sure.
Take us through that.
Yeah, sure. Great question again. I think certainly, I mean, we would love the brand to be in multiple cities, in multiple locations. How we start and go about it is very important for us. The
Yep.
how is very important for us. I think we're going to lean in right now to opening of few such stores in a few locations where we can welcome a lot of consumers to listen to them again, as I said. But for us, if I may use the term PMF, the product market fit,
Yes.
ensuring that, so it's like almost 3 stages. We went to consumers, we met almost over 1,000 consumers in about 6 or 7 cities
Oh, nice.
over a period of 1 year. And we did a lot of conversations with them, one-on-one, in groups, inside cafes, to ask them questions about what they thought the cafe culture is all about, what they think of the brands that are already out there, what do they miss in the cafe market out there. We've come back, we heard what they said, we've tried to decode what they said beyond what they're just saying in words, and we've tried to, now this what you see here is a decoding and interpretation from our side of what they want.
Yep.
That's the second phase. The third phase will be calling them in and saying, hey, you know what, this is what we have built, what do you think? And as they and they'll talk to us through numbers more than anything else. One is, of course, they'll tell us in the reviews.
Yep.
It's and we want our consumers to be brutal. They'll tell us whether they love us or hate us, or what they like or don't like, what can be different. Numbers will also tell us what's flying off the shelf, what is just not moving. We're going to use the next few months, several months actually, and the next few stores to really lean in and again listen to what they're telling us. And once we know and we understand that where is the concept leading to, what do they like or don't like, we'll do one last week. And then I think we'd like this place to go across the country into multiple cities and metros, and
I'm
it's
sure.
not going to be a one store story. Yet it's not a case of us saying that, hey, you know what, let's just do this cookie cutter across. Want to be able to enter every neighborhood very meaningfully.
No, and to expand or to grow further, coffee business and cafe business in particular in India or anywhere in the world, you need skilled labor.
Yeah.
You need people to know the
Yeah.
person behind the bar
Yeah.
should know what coffee is.
Yeah.
And you would know it better. It's not very easy to do job.
Yeah.
It looks very easy that you put a coffee
Yeah.
in a machine and then
Yeah.
take it out. It
That's
is
right.
much more than that.
It is.
There is a calculated risk with every grain which is
It is.
grinded.
It is.
So what are the steps you are taking to ensure that coffee coming? Because ultimately I feel you can give good ambience, you
Yes.
can get taste is something which will get you the customer back.
Yes.
So, what are the plans of when you expand? What are the plans of training people accordingly?
Yeah. See, you're absolutely right. I think if there's one challenge I have to call out in this industry, F&B and hospitality, it is the availability of good quality talent.
Yes.
Talent, because see, we are also a business which is out there all the time, right? We're right in front of you. And even those of us who are not in front of you, who are back in the kitchen behind a counter, we need to be alert every moment I'm in the store, right? I need to be alert every moment I'm in the store. I may have had a rough morning, and so on, but I need to come here and smile. I need to ensure that, and I try and do it as genuinely. I could be worried about, my kid who's who's unwell today maybe. But when I'm in the kitchen, I can't be distracted. I need to get my recipe just right because there's a consumer out there who's trusting you to do that. And I can't let that go wrong, right? For us, that attitude is the most important thing when we are hiring talent. You're right, the skills are critical. The skills are difficult sometimes maybe, but we can teach them. I think that's been the core philosophy of APG as a whole, that learning and development is very core to us. Here it becomes even more important because there is a lot of excited, youthful energy in the country. How do you channel it becomes very important. So the baristas that we're going to pick up and train are not necessarily going to be only those who are experienced. We've lined up our work with a couple of very good entities out there whom we are going to work with very closely to train our crew. Right? We're going to run our programs. Like we already have a good program running with hospitality management institutes where we bring them, we do a program for 18 months when we bring them in just to make hospitality leaders out of them for ourselves. In the same way, we are going to run a program where we know that we're going to put them through a series of trainings so that they're ready for the cafe. I think that challenge has to be solved. That's the most important challenge, and if we solve that, I think a lot of other things can be solved for in terms of just the steps of going about how do we ensure that when the 5th or the 50th or the 500th cafe opens, are there enough people to take care of it? I think also what's helping us, if I may say, a tailwind could be that this country, there's slightly more appreciation for dignity of labor now.
Yeah.
Students are very happy to work part-time. Younger professionals are okay to, walk into a cafe and say, I'm going to work here, and their parents will not say, what are you really doing?
Yeah, that is evolving. Yes.
That stigma is thankfully, slowly, very infinitesimally small way, reducing. But I think, we're going to tap into all of this energy and, we're going to hopefully work.
Oh, of course. And I'm sure with the legacy and with the training platforms which ABG has actually provided over the years, it will help. And that, and we hope many Ingood Co comes out. Now, talking about all these brands, let's come to the fun part of it. Which, out of all the babies you have, which one is your favorite?
That's I don't know if you have kids, but I would ask you then to pick up amongst your kids.
I have one kid.
Good choice.
Yeah. So yeah.
Very difficult, honestly, but I love Indian food. I think we have a Avdi restaurant called Varsa. Oh, you know about Varsa?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in NCPA on Marine Drive.
Yes.
I love Varsa food.
So are you tea or coffee?
Oh, coffee.
Coffee? Are you saying it because you are here?
No. I'm gonna get you a chai, a real chai, not a premix, not a tea bag. We make actual chai in a vessel out here with adrak, which is not like adrak. We'll give it to you as much as you want and as little as you want, and you tell us. That's the beauty of this place that we are trying to build here, really.
Amazing.
Because we don't think that for you to be rooted and connected to the beverage you like, you need to be standing in a heat or in a place which only looks Indian.
Yeah.
You can be in a very international looking place and still have your cup of tea.
True.
Yes.
So
but having said that, I've grown up not having either. But then, I've developed a taste for some good coffees.
Oh, that's amazing. And what's next for you? Personally and professionally.
Well, here, look, we're really trying to build an idea here. the really important thing for us here at ABNAH is, can we build a culture where people are truly driven and enjoying themselves when they come in the morning. We are a country, um, while there is a small part of the country which wants a slow life, wants to breathe in, relax, and there's spaces for that, there's no doubt. But we are a large country which wants to lean in. We want to hustle. This is our time.
Yes.
We want to be out there. We want to work our, bros sweat off. We want to really win and lead. I think we want to build a place where people enjoy coming in, do their, heart's work, and are satisfied, feel fulfilled at the end of it.
Yes.
I think we've just started that mission.
Amazing.
So I'm really not thinking about what next in terms of what different from ABNAH, but what next at ABNAH. I think, the restaurants need to, we just started like 2-3 years ago. We are been largely Mumbai based.
Yes.
We've just entered Delhi NCR through Gurgaon.
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah.
Why late? why did it? What took you so long to enter Delhi?
So, for us, we're not going after perfection, but some amount of excellence is important.
Of course.
So unless we are ready, what's the holy grail of hospitality is consistency.
Consistency, yes.
When you come next week or next month, and when you go to a different Narathai or a Chin, will you find the same? It has to be same. Till we are confident that we can deliver that promise to the consumer, we are not going to rush in just because there's money to be made.
Yes.
So it took some time for us. We are building our systems, we are building our process. We want to be able to do it in the right manner. That took us maybe a little while. But I think, taking our brands across cities, building brands like these, I think, giving that platform for our teams to express themselves, to enjoy what they're doing, I think that's next, for ABNAH, and, the numbers will follow. You have to follow the process.
Yeah.
You follow the process, the numbers will definitely follow. It's very important to make money, by the way.
True.
Otherwise, how will you pay the bills? How will you pay your people? We want to be a successful, profitable business with good paybacks and ROIs.
Yes.
But we're going to build that through the route of a happy team and, really satisfied consumers.
Amazing. Spoken about Bombay, Delhi.
Yeah.
But just out of my curiosity, would ABNAH be actually expanding itself to tier 2, because that's where the consumer segment is also evolving and they are actually appreciating good cuisine, and this is somewhere it is lacking as well.
See, India is a very deep market and it's a long game. And we'd like to believe that ABNAH is in for a long game as well. We are going to be, as you see, not just in fine dining brands but cafes as well. We are going to be bringing in Joe and the Juice. We're going to be across multiple formats for multiple occasions that, each consumer, they wake up in the morning till they sleep in the night, there's enough options in our stable. Our portfolio has to be. In the same way, there's a lot of depth in the market also, as you rightly pointed out, that there's depth in terms of price point. There's also depth in terms of cities. Are we going to go beyond the top 3 cities? Certainly. As the country evolves and as the opportunity evolves, we will go. Some places we may go slightly ahead of time, but for us, as I said, there is a certain economics that works with a certain availability of infrastructure and scale. I think when you open a restaurant, you need it to run 7 days a week. You need it to run for lunch, you need it to run for breakfast, you need to run it for dinner. Let's say cafe needs to run all the times. Because there's a lot of fixed costs, there's bills to be paid regardless of whether the consumer walks in or not. We are keeping our ears very close to the ground on how cities are evolving. Hyderabad is accelerating so well, Chennai is waking up a lot, Calcutta is doing so well. Jaipur and Surat, the way you look at the cafes that are popping up there, Coimbatore. So we're going to, the way, I'll relate this hence, the growth and the pace of expansion to your just earlier question about Delhi. The cities are getting ready. We need to be ready for them as well. So as we build our muscle, as we build brands which can go to multiple cities at the right price points, and as we become confident, I think the time will come. We'll certainly be seen in all these cities over time.
We wish you all the best. With this, we thank Udai for speaking to us so freely about the brand, the evolvement of the brand, and we wish you congratulations.
Thank you.
And all the best for the future endeavors. May ABNAH be the force which it is.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for making this a lovely conversation. It just felt like someone was genuinely interested in us in the cafe. It just felt like an easy conversation.
I must compliment you on this, because the cafe, the moment I entered, I could feel that this is something which we need
Yeah.
as Indians,
Yeah.
and also we are proud of it.
Yeah.
And coming from ABNAH, we
Yeah.
could not expect anything less.
This is for the
Yes.
bold, confident, and unapologetic Indian who
course.
wants to come here for conversations, for community, for coffee. We are here. I
Thank
think,
you. Thank you speaking
welcome
so
to you and
passionately about
everyone
us.
here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was
Thank
such a
you so
pleasure.
much. Thank you.